Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. This one is just sharing with you a really easy way to create a background where you can journal out those thoughts that are in your head, those feelings. That kind of art journaling is really all about, especially for me. I'm just going to go in with some pens and I'm going to create my background using lots of writing. I'm using capital letters, scripty writing, scribbly writing, just any kind of writing, and I'm going to create layers and layers of writing. This really is so easy, and it's a way to get those thoughts onto your page. You do you. This is something that I say to myself a lot, and I think it's important that we all remember we're all just doing our thing, and being authentic and doing your thing and being kind are just so important. So I'm using different pens. I've gone in with a really thick Posca pen. This is a Artex black acrylic pen, and it's got a brush tip on one end and it's got a little small bullet tip on the other end. Really nice, not expensive pens at all. I think I found these on Amazon. Surprise, surprise. And here I'm just using this one, and this video is in real time. I haven't sped it up. You can see how kind of slowly I am writing these words. I'm definitely doing some thinking while I'm writing, and just letting it flow. Also layering your writing over the top. So here I'm using a kind of slanty, scripty writing and writing it over the top of that first layer. I don't know, it just adds to the interest. And there's something quite cathartic about that kind of repetitive writing. I don't know what it is, but this page was so simple and yet so impactful for me. So you don't always have to get all the things out, use all the things, do all the techniques that you know. Sometimes just keeping it simple, writing, letting those thoughts out is enough. You'll also notice that I'm playing in an unusual shaped journal. This is half of a large craft journal from Dina Wakley. Of course, if you follow me on social media, you'll know that I cut one in half of the large craft journals and made two smaller ones. This is a really lovely size, and I think I'll probably end up doing it again. So yeah, it's a nice size to play in, and I think quite often I want to work small, and I like working small, and particularly for something like this, just keeping it smaller, it helps. So yeah, lots of different sized pens, different sized nibs, different font styles, and now I'm going to go in and do some stamping over the top. So in effect, what I've created here is my first layer of text. It's my almost like my collage layer, I guess. Bit of stenciling, I suppose. I'm just creating that interest underneath what I'm going to put over the top, and it doesn't really matter if this is visible and legible and you can read it. It's not important. But this is such a simple way to start an art journal page, is get that writing on your page as your starting point. So text, dots, I'm just adding it all on. These are, this is an archival ink as well. So if I've used paint pens and archival ink because when I go in with paint over the top, none of the text will move. It will all stay put where I've put it, and it won't bleed into the paint. Not that that necessarily matters. Next, I'm picking up on my 2-inch brush from Dina, of course, some rainbow colours. Yeah, this is me. This is what I do. Not always, but quite often. Swipe those across the page. Again, I am just keeping this quite simple. One stripe of paint, and then I've got some left, so I'm just finding another page in the back of the journal. I'm just going to swipe that paint on, use it up because I don't want to waste it. There we go. So then once I've given the page a good dry, I'm going to use these birds as my focal point on my page. My archival ink pad needed a bit of a re-ink, so I did give that a little bit of a freshen up, and just stamping these onto some white card. Then they're going to be cut out and I'm going to decide what to do with them next. Okay, so I've got the birds cut out and ready, and I'm already starting to think, they're all kind of flying in similar directions. Well, when I say all, two of them are, and I don't really want that because for me that doesn't feel particularly balanced. But first of all, before I deal with that, I've just cut out some little circles. I could just as easily have gone in with a Posca pen and just added some dots, but I kind of like this little bit of collaging. Again, quite a meditative process. This was a very sort of thinky page. It was a process that I had to do. The glue that I'm using is Art by Marlene sticky glue. Nice and easy to use. Okay, so to counteract the fact that two of the birds were flying the same direction, I flipped one over, and just using the stamp set as a reference, sorry about my head, I am just adding the image onto the back of the stamped image so that I can use this side. Right, I'm not Dina Wakley and I can't do it exactly, so near is good enough, and as long as it looks bird-like, which it does, that's okay. I think often we get too caught up in wanting things to be just perfect, and no, life isn't perfect. So accepting that is very important, that if you've tried your best and done that, that's good enough. So again, I'm using that Artex paint pen for this. It's that nice kind of brush nib that's lovely to use. I'm just kind of doing those marks onto there, and I am using the stamp set as a reference for this, just so I can kind of get it nearly right. So I definitely felt that this needed a little bit of contrast, so I'm going in with one of my cookie cutters and adding some white circles onto there too. This just kind of pulls the page together for me. It brings it out to the edges, and I just think that finishing touch works really nicely. Of course, you can't have a journal page without splatters. Well, sometimes you can, but maybe you should have done. Anyway, some white splatters as well is a good way to just add a little bit more contrast, or splatters with a pop of colour that's a contrast to what you've used also would work well. And it also helps to break up that background. So I've used no stencils in this journal page at all. And yet I've still got those layers of interest with that text underneath. So nice and simple. For my quotes, I've just gone through Dina's type ledger papers and found this quote that works really nicely. I love these ledger papers. They are an absolute godsend, when there's something you want to say. Quite often that quote will be the one that will pop out at you. It's really weird. So just cutting it out, and then I'm going to stick it onto my page. And just adding a little outline around those quote sentences just helps to pop them out a bit from the background. Oh yes, and then I'm going in with my really, really chunky pink Posca pen, adding some hearts. I'm going to have to get another one of these pens very soon. It's one of my favourites. I love it. And of course, you notice I've done... I did 4, so I had to do another one. Odd numbers all the way. So there we go. A really, really simple journal page. Not many things that I've used on this, but I feel it was... the process for me was more important than what it looked like when it was finished. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again soon.